Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil, and it's Sybil, and it's Aprylete. How are you
Okay.
today, young lady?
I am great on this Thursday. I will say that it's been hot in Texas, so I'm still getting used to the heat. I'm still getting used to
You're
that. Yes,
from Atlanta and St. Louis.
but what does that
Yeah,
mean?
you not used to the heat?
No, not this. This heat is different. This
Oh,
Gucci,
Gucci agrees, apparently.
this heat is suffocating.
It's hotter than hell. Woo!
No, this heat is a little suffocating. This heat hits you.
The humidity.
I am sorry. You might have to give me 2 seconds because he is not happy. Goody daddy,
What's
come here.
wrong with him?
Relax. Oh, he sees a dog out and he's very territorial. So he feels like this is his
Oh,
domain. Even the
uh-huh,
dogs that are outside in their own little area,
uh-huh.
he runs this whole complex.
Oh, nice, nice. You like a good, a nice guard dog. I
Guard
like
dog,
that.
okay. That weighs 6 pounds.
That's funny. That's funny. All of six. Well, I'm looking to see what the weather is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and where I am, it's 90 degrees.
Hot.
That's not that hot.
See,
With the
again, it's
humidity, I get the humidity.
yeah,
I get that.
suffocating
But
in your
like
throat.
my cousins called me from California today. It's like, how hot is it? I was like, it's not 90 yet. This was 3:30 in the afternoon. I was like, this is the height of the day. So
Well, y'all
um
used to something different. I'm just saying, it just feels different. A
I
90 here and a
promise
90
you,
in St. Louis is different.
I promise you, the humidity in the Midwest can
Yeah,
be pretty stifling.
it's bad. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. So I mean, it's hot, but
Okay. And it's too hot for me.
really. So
Yeah.
what does that do to you? What does the heat do to you?
Makes me tired.
Okay.
Exhaustion.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm wondering if that's Yolanda's problem because she was real snarky today, but she's also going on like 2 minutes of sleep and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
and you said that yesterday you had a power outage. So did I.
Yes.
In the morning.
Yes. Mine was kind of mid-afternoonish
Hmm.
and it lasted for a good 3 hours.
Yeah, ours
Mhm.
was in the morning from about 7 to 10,
Okay. Okay.
and so it's 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So it wasn't bad.
Okay. That
My
thunder was scary. Like, I don't know if you heard the
I
thunder where
love
you're,
that. I
baby, you
love it.
love it. That
Oh yeah,
thunder
that's good
had
sleeping
Gucci
weather.
shaking in his skin. He
Oh,
was so,
do you have a thunder shirt for him?
they're like $45. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Oh, well then Yolanda, send Ramses over to Aprilette, because Ward doesn't like his dogs to have thunder shirts and those
Oh, well,
kind of
put that
things.
on the list for me, a thunder shirt. But no, yeah, he didn't have that, but he
We'll
probably
send it
needs
to
it because
him and take it in a bit because it's
yeah,
probably too big
too
for
big.
him.
It'll swallow him up.
Yeah. But I that disturbs me when the dogs are disturbed. That
Yeah,
because that yeah. And
he was
does he
scared.
get upset by fireworks too?
No, he actually during normal thunder and things like fireworks and things like that, he's okay. But yesterday's thunder was something wicked. I was
Really?
scared. It was very loud and it was too much. I was scared.
Well, we have been very lucky in the Dallas-Fort Worth area because we haven't had the tornadoes and storms this season so much
Hmm.
as other people have in the small towns. Like yet last night it was Matador, Texas, and before that was Perryton,
Mm.
and a lot of rain and things like that. Hailstorms we've had,
Hmm.
but not the tornadoes. It's really quite something. And now people are affected by the weather. I just saw a story where a postal worker, someone who works for the United States Postal Service, died as a result of the heat. And so
Mm.
that's really important that if you are out in the weather, no matter where you are, be sure to hydrate, drink
Yeah.
as much liquids as you possibly can. And when
Mhm.
you see people out there, if you got a bottle of water, hand it to them and let
Yep,
them.
share with them for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, enough about the weather. And it is Friday Eve, so good for us. Yeah, I know, right? We're getting close there, but I promise you, 90 degrees. mm,
Okay. If you say so.
No, don't take my word for it. I don't feel it, though, but I will tell you, if somebody calls me and says, "Ooh, that weather," my friend Kevin's like, "How are you handling the heat?" And I was like, "Mm, okay."
Well,
What
you
have you
have your
heard?
hoodie on. I have my arms out. You got your, like, we're in two different seasons right now.
I know, and I don't get hot flashes or anything like that. So it's not, and I don't get cold flashes. But I do have a lot of lights, and I have the air conditioning on. So
Okay.
that's my thing. I'm not sweating or anything, so it'll be okay. And I love a hoodie. I
You
just
love
love
a
a
good
hoodie.
hoodie.
I love a hoodie with some color. All right, so April, let us move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. And if I didn't introduce you properly, I will now. Aprilette is one of our writers and contributors to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our newsletter that we put out 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It is absolutely free. We'd love to have you subscribe. You go to sybilwilkes.com and give us your name and your email address. We'll have it in your email box Monday through Friday morning. And Aprilette is one of our youngins, and she is a mental health and wellness contributor. And speaking of which, Aprilette has a story in the current What You Need to Know newsletter. The New Jersey Senate panel has approved a measure aimed at expanding an intervention program that diverts nonviolent offenders to mental health treatment programs. What that means?
Yes. Okay. So the bill actually was signed on Tuesday. And so now they're going to be voting on it today. And this will expand the mental health diversion programs that already exist in 5 Jersey counties to 3 new jurisdictions. So the diversion programs functions much like a recovery court. This will allow people facing mental health disorder, challenges. If they're facing criminal charges, they will avoid jail time. If they graduate from the program, they can have their charges expunged. Now, you have to be mindful that individuals charged with first degree crime and are ineligible for the program under any circumstances. And individuals accused of violent crimes such as sex offenses and certain weapon offenses, they're ineligible for the mental health diversion program as well, but the prosecutors can admit them. So with this being said, Republicans, they are raising concerns. They're saying that this will push violent offenders into New Jersey streets. But the county's prosecutor office have said that the mental health diversion programs have been successful over the 12 years that they have been using this program. So the bill will just expand it to new jurisdictions in New Jersey. And so they're supposed to, again, like I said, wait on the bill today, and it could see its final votes by Monday. And if it is passed, then in about 17 months, this bill will be ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is really great because number one thing about the mental health diversion programs and mental health courts and things like that, this is something fairly new. I mean, mental health courts have been around since 1997, only 20 years. But this is important because people who are facing these charges, who have mental health challenges just by maybe small offenses like trespassing, or a lot of homeless people, they don't have anywhere to go and they may do something small in the result of their mental health challenges. Now they're just being thrown in jail. So I think this is important because since New Jersey doesn't have a mental health court, this will be something for them as well.
That is great news. Do you see this as a trend, maybe, or is that just hopeful thinking that other states will take this under consideration and do the same thing?
I would say really hopeful thinking. I mean, because I wouldn't say a trend because, again, out of the 22 states that have mental health courts and a mental health diversion program, there are only 300. But look how many counties there are in all 50 states. So it's not a lot of traction. But I think that once they see that this is working, kind of like the recovery treatment programs, I think that the Congress and legislative, they'll get more involved and maybe start passing some of these bills.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we have cashless bail systems, and people have picked up on those things. So, but this is really important, especially for people who are in the midst of a mental health challenge.
Yes.
If
And I
you,
mean, and just throwing people in a jail is not the answer at the end of the day. And
right.
so I do think that, I don't know, but I'm like, wouldn't it be cheaper to do outpatient care or inpatient care other than throwing them in jail? Like, if you want to talk about funds and things like that. So
So many of us know people who have been put in the system because of a mental health challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and the effects of it are sometimes disastrous,
Yeah.
and sometimes just a really big confusing situation with PTSD effects.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hopeful that other states will see the benefits of this,
Absolutely.
take the results and the facts and the figures of this, and hopefully apply it to their particular states, or as you say, the counties, or whatever the jurisdiction is.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree because it's really unfair to throw people who have undiagnosed mental illness inside of a jail cell. Like
Yeah.
that's unfair. So.
Yeah, that's just grossly unfair. So good on New Jersey, and let's once again, as I ask you guys, can we keep an eye on this and see how how it rolls out,
Mm-hmm.
and what the bottom line is for a lot of this. Story that I did in the newsletter has to do with something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's women's rights. And this is especially true of women's rights over their bodies. The female senators, Democratic senators in the United States Senate, took to the Senate floor to talk about the well, actually, um,
Get ready.
let me just go back a little bit. The Saturday, June 24th, will mark the 1 year since Roe versus Wade was overturned by the United States Supreme Court. So to call it an anniversary gives it some sort of happy meaning.
Yeah, and it's not.
Definitely not for most women in this country, unless you are a woman who agrees with the men who are trying to take our rights away. This Dobbs decision was voted upon, and by the majority of the conservative United States Supreme Court, Dobbs versus the Jackson Health Clinic, and so that overturned, it reversed Roe versus Wade that had been the law of the land for just about 50 years. And so on this day, a lot of people are going to be going around the country. The vice president is scheduled to go to Charlotte, North Carolina to talk about this. She's following through on the White House move to bring about changes in the way that this country views women and their reproductive rights. The Democratic women of the United States Senate are also making their stance clear. And Senator Patty Murray of Washington State took to the Senate floor to protect the rights of women across the country with a host of bills to ensure access to contraception and birth control. So, among them, they were seeking unanimous consent for 3 bills on the Senate floor: the Right to Contraception Act, which would enshrine into law the right to use birth control; the Freedom to Travel for Healthcare Act, which would ensure women can freely travel for healthcare across state lines, which is what a lot of women are doing, and their individual states are trying to stop them from
Mm-hmm.
doing this if they haven't already. And they also in the Women's Health Protection Act, which would codify the right to abortion and prohibit states from imposing medically unnecessary restrictions on abortion access. There are 28, I believe, conservative states that, so as soon as Dobbs was overturned, Roe versus Wade,
Mm-hmm.
it was an automatic countdown, the number of states that were trying to reverse the
Wow.
progress and take away these rights for women regarding abortions, as well as those who are in the middle of a birth crisis.
Yes.
And in order to save their lives, they many of them had to go through abortion like procedures. And so not only were the women penalized, were their lives in danger, but also the doctors who were helping them in this
Mm-hmm.
process. I mean, there was one case which was absolutely crazy. A female gynecologist in Indiana agreed to help a 10-year-old girl who became pregnant as a result of a rape and by an older man, and the case just grew out of proportion, and so they were not going to what are you going to do? Put this child in jail? Maybe her parents, but definitely they were going after the doctor. And so
Mm.
this is what the Democrats in the United States Senate are trying to do. And they're asking for unanimous consent on legislation that would seek to expand abortion access for women in this country. So unanimous consent means that everybody can vote, but you don't have to make it a public vote. And
Mhm.
they are being mindful. The procedure that still allows any single senator to ask for a vote on the bill, but any one senator can object. And it's a way to force a vote on an issue, but you don't have to be public about it. I
Mm.
want to know. I
Yeah.
think that these women are being very nice. And I don't think that these people in the United States Senate and those in the states have the right or should have the right to keep their votes private. I want to know where they stand and I want to know who they are so that we can go about and make sure that they lose their jobs.
And so when it comes to the voting process, after the votes are casted, then what?
And then it's highly unlikely that it's going to pass because you'll need 60 votes and you got 50
Mm.
Democrats, right? In the well, even less than that when you consider the independent of Arizona and then of course Joe Manchin of West Virginia. But you need a majority, and so it's highly unlikely that it passed. But it is something that it's more for symbolic purposes on
Mm.
this, the look back at when Roe versus Wade was overturned and the
Gotcha.
rights of women everywhere just scooped up and taken it. It doesn't affect me. And trust and believe that horse is out the barn. But it is necessary that we look upon the next generation
Absolutely.
and the
Absolutely.
generation after that. And now people are leaving these states, these conservative states
Yeah.
where can't get the female reproductive services that they need. They're
It's
also
scary.
leaving
It
because they can't get transgender services that they need. And so states like, well, let's just say Florida, for instance, or Texas, for instance, are losing people. And this is going to affect the bottom line of these states. But the Republicans, the conservatives, are so bent, bound, and determined to prove a point. They're like, well,
Mhm.
we'll lose all money, we'll lose our citizens. We don't want them here anyway. That's not the way to do business.
It's not the answer, and it's
No,
sad. It's
no.
it's it's sad.
It is extremely sad. Yeah, exactly. So that's where my passions are. And young Cameron Riley, I did a story about Francis Tiafo Jr., who is smashing his way into victory, into history. You may remember him from the U.S. Open last year, the young black man that made it into the finals. He has now broken into the Association of Tennis Professionals, or the ATP men's top 10, and only the third black man to do this after Arthur Ashe, who he lost back in the 90s. That's how
Mm.
long it's been since Arthur Ashe was around, and James Blake. And James Blake retired many years ago as well. So now we have this 25-year-old man from Maryland,
25.
and he is on his way to making history. I remember back last September sitting right here and watching him in the U.S. Open, and his parents, and a great story about
Mhm.
his families who his parents who are immigrants, and learning how to teach himself to play at a tennis center where kids were their parents paid exorbitant amounts for them to learn how to play tennis.
And he taught
He
himself.
taught himself where his father was the head of maintenance.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's really pretty cool. So take a look at that. And then of course we are also talking about Alzheimer's disease. We have been talking about that this month, Alzheimer's and Brain Health Awareness Month.
Mhm.
Once again, please go to SybilWilkes.com and give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box Monday through Friday morning. This is a story I got to tell you. When I don't agree with you, I will tell you. And I don't want to embarrass anyone, but oftentimes the story is like, does that really apply to your subject? And this is with Coy Malone's story because it goes back to something back in the day. I'm not sure if this is a social justice story, but it's interesting because it harkens back to a problem that folks had in their cars being stopped by police because of the air fresheners. Do
Mm.
you remember that when you were a kid? The stories about people being stopped because of the air fresheners.
No.
Um, This happened, a TikTok video of a man in New Jersey pulled over for police. He said that he didn't turn on his turn signal. He did, and then it came down. Okay, well, I'm gonna charge you for your air freshener, and this is something that
That's
about
ridiculous.
30 years ago.
That's
I'm
ridiculous.
not sure if this is social justice or it's just a ridiculousness of the police, but okay, if you
But either
you
or,
yeah,
but
whatever it is, Coy is bringing attention to it in this current episode of what you need to know. So take a look at that as well. And we do give you a lot, and hope that you will be a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. And let us move on, young Aprylete, and
yes.
talk about what's really going on. Now, I may be in the minority here, and if I am, fine. But I have just been amazed by the attention, the news stories, and the lengths and the depths to which they have gone to tell this story about the submarine that
Mm,
was lost on its way to the wreckage of the
yeah.
Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. I'm telling you, I don't know how much a news company spent. They had not only mock-ups, but they had, they had the submarine itself, showing you
Yeah.
how long, how
Mhm.
wide, how they sat, all of this, in order to give people an idea about the submarine that they have not heard from for 5 days since
Yeah.
Sunday.
And now I think they're out of oxygen, correct? I mean,
Well, not only are they out of oxygen, sadly, they had realized that there was some sort of explosion,
mm,
and they saw that they found the debris on the floor of the ocean, and they put this all together, and they notified the families
wow.
that they were lost, that they
Mhm.
had lost their lives. Okay, so this brought to mind, and Yolanda and I were thinking the same thing, but so the question is, obviously, these are people who had a great passion and had the money to pursue their passion, whether
Mhm.
it was undersea, underwater diving, being a part of something that was new, whether they had a passion like one of the, or at least a couple of them, were Titanic
Yeah.
aficionados
Mhm.
and wanted to know. And so they were willing to pay $250,000, a quarter of a
Wow.
million dollars, in order to go on this submarine and to see this and then come back up. Well, that didn't happen. They had 96 hours of oxygen, and so the countdown was till today.
Yeah.
They figured, or at least it was guesstimated, that they had enough until 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they did notify the public and the families that they had lost their lives. So the question is, as many of us have been looking at this, and some asking, why in the world
Yeah.
would they do this? How crazy or passionate about this journey does one have to be to do this? And so I'm asking you, and
Hmm.
those that are watching and listening today, what's the one thing that you do that you're passionate about that nobody understands? They can't
Mhm.
figure out what it is. But if money was not an issue, what would you pursue? An interest, a journey, an expedition, if you will. What would you pursue?
That's a really good question. And low key sad for me because I'm like, what is my passion
Right.
that if money was not an issue that I would just go and do? I have to really think about that, Sybil. Mm.
So I can tell you what mine is, and mine is space travel. I've always
Mm.
been an astronaut geek. When I was able to go down to NASA and to meet real life astronauts and
I know
people
that
that,
made your day.
oh my
Made your
God,
life.
it really did. I mean, it made my life. You're right. So that's my thing. And if I was, with the exception of an Elon Musk project, um,
X-ray on Elon Musk.
yeah. I would like to go with real astronauts,
Okay.
and go and watch them work, and all that
Wow.
entails. That really is my jam. So I can
Wow.
tell you, space travel would be
Okay.
mine.
And one of the guys I actually read that was on the submarine, he
Mhm.
actually went to space.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was enough. So he went to the height of space and went to the depths of the ocean.
yeah. And I'm
And
sure that he was fulfilled. I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about with the question that you're proposing, the passion and what people don't understand, and if money wasn't an object, like I'm sure he was fulfilled. Like this was something that, he wanted to fulfill in his life, and
right,
he did it.
right.
It just costed his life. But I don't necessarily know. Let's ask the people. Maybe give me some thoughts because I don't
So
know.
what do you like to do? And I'm not and say let's just take it to the next level because just for me, as I said, space
Mhm.
travel. For Yolanda, it I would think it's music, and she would do something in maybe creating a song or a space for music or whatever, and don't understand the the depth of one's passion, the
Yeah.
depths of one's interest. And it may be, maybe you just haven't developed that yet. Maybe
And
it's,
you know what? I think maybe that is it too, because my passion is really like mental health and mental illness and being an
mhm,
advocate. So it's just like if I had no schedule and I didn't have to like go into work and money was not an issue, I
mhm,
would create a facility. Like that's something that I would do.
right.
Outside of that, I don't know any like
That's
grandiose
fair.
type of things, but it's like
That's
I would create
fair.
a facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to, to do something that's kind of way out there, and people don't understand why I love space travel. And I'm not a Star Trek geek, although I like the Star Trek series. I'm not a Star Wars geek, although I like the series. But I do love the idea, and have since I was a little girl, and watching them land on the moon, that this was something that I really wanted to do. Yolanda, I don't know if we have people who have given us some information or have chimed in on this particular question, but I am very
Jack.
Jackie Welch on YouTube says nothing that will take my life. I understand. I understand.
I will
Um,
say with that, like every
Mark
day is
Hay
so precious.
on Facebook. I thought I saw Mark. Okay. Travel frequently to West Africa would be it for me. I would like to do. And so that's the other thing. That was another thing I was thinking about. What about a safari? Would
That's
you
nice.
like, I
Yes.
know a lot of people like, have the idea about big game hunting. I'm not a gun person, and the
Yeah.
idea of shooting,
And
animals, that doesn't work for me. But that was something that, big game hunting is something that a
mm,
lot of people are really into.
interesting.
Maybe not. Aprylette, what do you think?
I, I don't know about
And
the
we
big
aren't
game
hearing
hunting.
you, so we're going to check your audio. Yeah, no, can't.
Wow.
Yolanda, do we have any others? Renita Bland on Facebook said, I run marathons and half marathons. If money was no option, I'd run all over the world and I'd never be home. Run, eat, travel. I'm with you on the run and the eat and travel part. Can I walk real fast and eat and travel? Then that's what got bad knees. Bad knees. But that is something that I would really like to do. Charlotte Bowen Bellamy, just traveling around the world. That's my passion. I know, and I've gotten away from that, and we were talking about that the other day. Just don't travel like they used to. But fun's being what they are. We'll get back to it one day. But so tell me, in your answer, and if you can, where's the most incredible place you've ever traveled, or that was so incredible you want to go back? Because I'm not in terms of going back so much, although I do love, certain places like Cape Town,
Mhm.
or something like that. But I don't. Where would you like to go back?
Can you
And
hear me?
just traveling the world. Where's the place the most fabulous and just incredible place you've ever visited?
Am I
And we're
here?
going to go back. And you know what, Aprilette? I'm still
No
not
here.
hearing you.
So,
Nope.
Sybil, it's you.
Nope.
We're going to kick
Nope.
you out and you come
Let's see
back.
if we can't get you on the phone
Okay.
and take care of that. Okay.
All right.
We'll bring you back.
All right.
Okay,
Oh.
okay, Aprylette, you go.
Okay.
Where would you like to travel?
Where would I like to travel? Oh. Ooh. You know what? I have not been any. I've only been to like Caribbean, like the Bahamas, Jamaica, and things like that. I would really love to go to Greece. So let's go with Greece. I enjoyed that, and I think when it comes to doing something, if money was not an issue, travel will definitely be number one for sure. Outside of just like the passion work that I like to do. Um, Here and there around, the house and things that I do for work. I really don't want to work, so I have to find something that's passionate outside of working. I hope y'all can hear me. Can you hear me, Yolanda?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Let's
perfect.
go to some of
Comments.
our topics. Hold on.
All right, so Don says safari, yes. Hunting, no. I agree with you. Hunting, no, 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 no. Amy says go to Paris for a month and definitely go to Africa to see the elephants up close. I say yes to that as well. And I love elephants. Elephants are my spirit animal. I love elephants. I would love to go to Africa to see them as well. Paris for a month is nice. Make sure you pack lots of clothes or buy clothes while you're there. Deanna says in homelessness, fully treat mental health and illness. I love that as well. Travel to Africa as often as desired. I love that. That's some passion work that will not take your life at all. Pinky says traveling to rainforest around the world.
Hope you got the hair for it. I guess I'll just pull my hair back and join you in the rainforest around the world.
Do y'all remember Rainforest Cafe?
I do. Are they still
I
in
don't think
business?
so. I don't think so.
There might be one at Grapevine Mills. I'm not sure if it's
Hmm.
still here in the Grapevine, Dallas area. But yeah.
Yeah,
Mark, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say when I was younger, my mom used to take us out of town every spring break, and so when we would travel, we would always go to a place with the Rainforest Cafe, and that was a thing. So we would eat at the Rainforest Cafe. Just a childhood memory that just came to mind.
We went to the rainforest on the Amazon, which was
Mm.
really cool. And I didn't do this, but somebody in our group had hairy tarantula spiders and
Ooh.
other little creepy crawly things. That's so
Not
not
your
my
thing, not
jam.
your passion.
Nope, nothing passionate about that. Mark, hey, my travel to West Africa would be to trace my DNA and family history to wherever in the world it takes me. That's cool, Mark.
Love that.
That's really cool. Take you to Africa, back to the motherland. Absolutely. I'm sorry, everybody. It was me with the problem with the
With
with
the
the
audio issue?
StreamYard. Yeah, the audio and video and everything, but coming back in strong. Imana on YouTube says, I would love to go to the moon and look out at everything in amazement. I wouldn't like to go any farther for fear of not getting back. So no Mars travel for you, Imana, huh? Okay. I
Won't be
get it.
going with you because you want to head up to space. So
Yeah. And I would like to take, my camera along and be able to take pictures of
So would
Earth
you want to
because
get out in a suit? You want to?
that would be so awesome. But here's the thing. I need to be tethered to something to make
Yeah.
sure that you can pull me back in, which is what a joke that I heard the guys at the barber shop were saying, that's what they needed. Not to make light of what happened, but before all the news came down, they said they need the world's longest rubber band or a double Dutch rope, and then just pull it back in, pull that little submarine back, because
But there
that's
was a button on the submarine, and we don't have to go into details, but I read that there was a button that the guy who was the pilot said all you have to push is supposed to be like an elevator.
right.
You push it and you go back up. So yeah, just
so they didn't get to that because apparently the
the
explosion happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what killed them,
Gotcha.
unfortunately. Yeah, that's really sad. CM Williams on Facebook, I'd go back to the music school I dropped out of as a kid, which is now crazy expensive. So what was the music school? Are you talking in Boston? Are you talking what music school would that be, I wonder? Tell us, CM. But that would be great. And then create music. Mark Hayes, space travel might be as risky as taking a tiny submarine down 13,000 feet. Yeah, you're right. But that's so I understand
I have to think, if there was a guarantee you would make it, then I wonder if people's thoughts will be a little different. Because if there's a guarantee that you can go to space and come back to Earth 100% totally fine, all limbs, all mind, everything, I wonder if people would be like, well, then yeah, I'll go. Because it's still something interesting. It may not be a passion, but it's still something interesting. And I think that we all, as humans, have some curiosity about things that are unknown. So
Right.
it's just, if there was no risk involved, take me to space. I would love to, I would love to see it.
And they took normal folks. It didn't work out so well for them. The initial where they took people who are not in the space program. There's a teacher named Krista McAuliffe who went up and they succumbed to an explosion. But I still I don't know if it's worth it, but it's something that I definitely would want to do. C.M. Williams says Manhattan School of Music. Well, la-di-da. All right. And I bet it is crazy expensive. Yeah, I think it was Berkeley that I was thinking of that you might be going to. All right. All right. So thank you all for participating. I appreciate that. And your willingness to join us in just these flights of fancy with these questions, shoulda, woulda, coulda questions, and perhaps others that go along with it. All right. Let's talk about the trending news. We have already talked about the news of the day. And people have been watching the search for the submarine vessel headed for the Titanic on the ocean floor, and many are asking, why would they do this? How crazy, and all of that, right? The Coast Guard announced this afternoon the debris of missing Titanic submarine was found, and the crew believed to have been killed in a deep sea catastrophe, an explosion, a explosion of some sort in the search for the missing Ocean Gate Titan submersible came to a tragic end. The search and rescue teams discovered a debris field on the ocean floor near the wreck of the Titanic. And that's where the crew was headed before losing contact with the surface vessel on Sunday morning. The debris is consistent with a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. And upon this determination, immediately they notified the families, according to the Coast Guard. And they said that, of course, everyone is offering their deepest condolences to the family. The announcement came hours after they alerted the public that the robotic vehicle made the discovery of the debris near the Titanic.
So they sent the robots down and not actual humans.
Right. So once they saw that, then they said that they sent humans down in order to carefully bring up what they. I don't know how much they brought up or to what extent they will try to recover if there are any bodies. Now, because if it was an explosion of some sort, I don't know.
Who knows where their bodies could be.
Right.
And contrary to unpopular belief, I don't believe that this was such a wild and crazy adventure, because one of the guys has been down to the site multiple times. I think it was just the submarine and how it was rigged.
Right.
That's the more alarming piece of it. And if they spent $250,000, it's just like, why not pour that money into making the submarine,
a better piece of equipment.
Yeah, that's the wild part to me. But going down to see the Titanic wreck ship and all of that, like, that's not wild to me.
No, and to see the what is really like the burial ground of all the people on the Titanic, that's not sexy, and it's not interesting to me.
Oh, it's not interesting to you? Okay.
No, it doesn't. It
tickle your fancy?
No, it really doesn't. But let them rest.
Okay. So you're not that adventurous.
No. I don't want to interrupt or disrupt. Where their bodies lay. So
yeah,
that's just me. This is really interesting, and this just breaks my heart. The 19-year-old student who was accompanying his father on the expedition told a family member that he was really hesitant about going. His name is Azmi Dawood, and he told the older sister of his Pakistani father, Shahzada Dawood, that Suleiman, the nephew, really had real, he wanted to back out of this completely. And he told her, and she's like, I get it, but it was Father's Day weekend and he didn't want to disappoint his father.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. But his brain was on. He was just like, we all sitting like this, crunched in. The window was only this big. So what are you actually seeing with the window?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
But here's the other thing, and I don't know if people will agree with me on this, but I hope that they went immediately. The greatest fear for me was that they would run out of oxygen. They would find the submarine vessel and then bring it up, and could see them in various states of distress. That would just be, and also I'm thinking 5 days down under and no spritz and no
and no seats. Like there was no seating, so they're literally
yeah. I mean,
I'm sure like their muscles would probably be hurting. Like
yeah.
So, I agree with the immediate.
So the boy went with his dad as a part of the Father's Day adventure. And here's the other thing. The guy who directed the movie Titanic, James Cameron, won all the awards many years. He's done it. He says he's done it a gazillion times. He even has created and invented a structure to take him down there, which he says was much better than what this company, the Ocean Group, had. But he blamed the Titanic submersible tragedy on that captain that went down there
in particular,
and compared it to the famous shipwreck. He said that the deadly implosion could have been avoided. He's struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself, where the captain was repeatedly warned about ice ahead of his ship. And that's what happened with Titanic, hitting the ice floes. And yet he steamed at full speed ahead into an ice field. And he said he knew that this man, who the captain, was warned about the danger of this. And still,
he had to be warned.
Yeah. And still went ahead with it and took people with him.
He was steering with a game controller. Like you had to be warned.
Like the sign, like his kid's Game Boy or something.
That's wild to me.
Said a lot of these pieces of equipment you could buy at Best Buy.
That's wild. And then so just to think about the ticket cost to get on this.
Yeah. So I want my money to go to making this the best vessel possible.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So wild.
I know. Donald Trump is talking. He's a little nervous. He's about to go to trial over the documents. He's about to go to trial over the defamation of the woman who has charged him with rape. That case is done, but the defamation continues. And now he's just talking to anybody who'll talk to him, which is really pretty much Fox News. And he told them that he is calling for the death penalty for drug dealers. The former president says that he is advocating for imposing the death penalty on convicted drug dealers, and he said that he doesn't care who it is. If they're a drug dealer, they've been convicted, they should die. And he said, you do remember that you freed a convicted drug dealer. And it was a Black woman. Her name was Johnson, Annie. I think it was Annie Johnson, Alice Johnson. He granted her clemency, and back in 2019, 16 maybe. But this is a Black woman who Kim Kardashian was the advocate for. Went to the White House. The president granted this woman clemency. She went all over praising Donald Trump in the 2020 election, all of this. She was on a Super Bowl ad talking about it. She was serving life in prison going back to 1996 on charges stemming from cocaine distribution and money laundering. Oh, wow. And she, they noted, Brett Baer said she would have been killed under your plan. And he said, what? He said, as a drug dealer, oh, no. It would depend on the severity.
Donald, okay.
You can't go
He's
back.
Like a child. He's literally like a 3-year-old.
Well, somewhere around that age, a lot of people have said. Let me ask you this. are you, we've already seen how very rich people spend their money. What about two incredibly rich men duking it out in a cage match?
I already know who you talking about, girl.
Mark Zuckerberg has agreed to a cage match with Elon Musk.
That's so
Musk
silly.
is taking Twitter's competition to Facebook literally and issued a challenge to a fight with the CEO of Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg, who very quickly accepted the challenge. Send
Oh,
me the location, he said on Instagram. And I'm up for a cage match if he is, LOL, which I hate, LOL.
oh my.
The potential contest appears to have started when several Twitter users, including Musk, commented on a report about Meta potentially working on a Twitter-like application that would be a direct competitor to the Twitter platform. But here's the thing. I'm not sure how good of a shape Elon Musk is in. He might be mentally brilliant, but physically not so much. But Mark Zuckerberg trains in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu area and recently won a tournament in the Silicon Valley. I'm not sure how great the competition was, but he might be in better shape than Elon Musk.
Elon, okay.
And so they're just looking for a date, and somebody said it could be Vegas, which
that is
makes
so
sense.
silly.
I'm not a fight fan. That does nothing for me. Just like I don't like shooting and guns and stuff. But to see Elon Musk get his butt kicked,
you want to see that, don't you?
I kind of do.
Oh my goodness.
And that's not to say that I'm a Mark Zuckerberg fan, but definitely giving the weight to all of this. Mark Zuckerberg aims a little higher. This is really crazy. Prime get well wishes to Coach Prime. Deion Sanders is undergoing emergency surgery for a blood clot. The NFL and vet and now Colorado head football coach has announced that he is going to undergo emergency surgery Friday after a blood clot was discovered in his groin. He's no stranger to blood clot issues. He previously had 2 toes amputated and underwent multiple surgeries due to a lack of circulation in his left leg. And doctors were talking about the possibility of having to amputate his leg. Now they have found these blood clots, and hopefully they can remove the blood clots, and that will bring the end of. But if he has a condition in which blood clots are the norm, they're going to have to do something about that. I have a friend who has experienced that several times. Luckily, no limbs were lost or anything like that.
With your friend.
The whole football community and everybody else is pulling for a full recovery. And this is, it's tragic to see a man who was so great in his prime and now, limping or in a wheelchair or all this.
I hate that.
There's no value great enough to put on your health.
Come on now.
And when you have it, keep it. Do all you can to keep it.
Yep.
In just about an hour from now, the NBA is going to have their draft. Are you into this at all? I know you wear jerseys. I know you wear t-shirts.
It's like, I'm a game girl. So it's like, get me to the game. So this part right here, get me to the game once they already got their jersey on. But or who are you rooting for? Because I know that
I'm not rooting for anyone because my hometown team doesn't even have a pick in the first round. That's how goofy this is. But San Antonio is getting the
number
first
1 pick.
Wow. And barring a major, I was going to say something else, but a major hiccup, everyone knows that the 7'4" Victor Wembanyama of France is slated to be picked as number 1, following in the footsteps of or the the basketball steps of David Robinson and who was the other one? Was it Tony Parker? I'm not sure, but David Robinson for sure, picked by the San Antonio Spurs. He's slated to go number 1. And so now the speculation is who's going to be number 2. And that goes to the Charlotte Hornets. And the Hornets reportedly are strongly considering a player by the name of Scoot Henderson as of
Hmm.
this morning.
All right, Scooty.
I love Scoot. I love this. That is a name. His real name is Sterling. And
Oh yeah, call him Scoot. I
call him
like
Scoot. Yeah. He's coming from the NBA G League, the Ignite out of Nevada. So,
Okay.
but this kid is so incredible. The kid from France.
Mhm.
He plays for the professional teams in one of the professional teams in France. His father is from Africa. His mother is, and they're both former basketball players. His mother was a coach, and so she taught her son. And he's a cute kid. He really is. He's 7'4" though. He's all legs
big,
and,
yeah.
and arms.
He's big.
Yeah. But he's a
So what
cutie.
happens? Do you know what happens if he turns down San Antonio and wants to go to another team, or it doesn't work like that?
No, it can work like that. We've had situations where deals were made where the agent says he don't want to go to San Antonio,
Mm-hmm.
but San Antonio is such a good team and has such a great coach. I can't imagine him not already, having these discussions with him about we're going to pick you number one. But in the unlikely event that he doesn't want to go, then there is the discussion between the agents and the management, and then management starts talking to other teams and says, look, Wimbayama, he doesn't want to come here, but what will you give us?
Got you. Okay, so this is more than just getting up there like, hey, I want this guy. There's conversations that have been had there.
Because everybody would give up the rest of their team.
Literally.
Well, not the rest of their team. But congratulations to Chris Paul. I hope that this is true, that he looks like he's going to go to the Warriors in a trade that took him across the country and now back across and maybe a championship. I'm crazy about Chris Paul. And I really hope that he does get it. Yeah, I hope he gets that ring. Gets that ring. All right, so that's my sports talk.
I love it.
For everybody else who doesn't care about any of this, but look for Scoot. Let's check out entertainment, and here's where my geekiness also comes out. The announcement was made today about one of my favorite events, the Kennedy Center Awards, the Kennedy Center Honors. They announced the people who are going to be honored this year, and that includes the Queen of Hip Hop, actress of one of my favorite shows, Queen Latifah, is going to be honored. The Bee Gees band member, I think he's the only surviving member of the Bee Gees, Barry Gibb, the great Dionne Warwick. Not here. Okay. Opera star Renee Fleming and comedic actor Billy Crystal will all receive the 46 Kennedy Center Honors for lifetime artistic achievements. The show will be taped on December 3rd. This is how much of a geek I am, Aprylete. The show will be taped on December 3rd. And then it is played back, usually on CBS, the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's something I've always wanted to go to. Tom would not take me when Lionel was honored.
So now you're gonna have to make that up and go.
I'm gonna have to make this a part of my bucket list. Yeah, yes, it really is. I love this, and these are all people in my lifetime. Usually they have older stars that you don't really know too much about, but it's a great learning experience about some of these older artists. And I gotta say, I know all of these people in music and what have you. But yeah, that's on my bucket list. The Kennedy Center Honors recognizes artists who have made profound contributions to the cultural life of our nation. That from the chairman of the Kennedy Center. So look for that, and good on you, Queen Latifah. I'm so happy. I'm such a fan.
Congratulations.
All right. It is now time for our jewel, our inspiration of the day. The results of being disciplined far outweigh the negative results of not being disciplined. So track with me here. The results of being disciplined far outweigh the negative results of not being disciplined. So discipline is always the way to go. That is our theme for this week, discipline.
Discipline.
Yes.
Are you going to have some discipline this weekend? Getting into the weekend, where's your discipline going to be?
I have had to be disciplined with my budget lately. So I'm trying to maintain that. So that's where my discipline is coming in, because I have to spend money on another project. And it's just money's just
Yep.
going. So
Okay.
my discipline. So help me stay on track with that. And do I lose my discipline if I go out and buy a lotto ticket or a scratch off in hopes of that's not being
Replenishing
disciplined?
it.
Yeah, that's not being disciplined. And that's being that's foolish. That's foolish. What one of my friends' grandmothers used to say, foolish. That's just being foolish. All right, let's not be foolish any longer. Aprylete, I hope you have a wonderful week and stay cool.
Yes, I will definitely try, and I will be disciplined. I have been working out more than ever, so it's just like I've been trying to be disciplined in the gym. So once we get off this live, I will be headed down.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. And staying inside and drinking lots of water.
That's right.
All right, everyone, please stay disciplined and check us out next week. We love having you participate, and we appreciate you and your partnership in watching and joining us every day, as well as contributing. Go out there and be good to each other. We'll see you soon. Aloha.